Welcome to today's episode with our distinguished guest, Nafeez Amin, a visionary leader and founder of Sherpa Prep and co-founder of Smart with a Heart. Nafeez brings a dynamic background combining high-level academic achievements, financial expertise, and a deep commitment to educational equity. Holding graduate degrees from the Wharton School, Johns Hopkins, and Georgetown, and further credentials from Harvard, Penn, and Stanford, his educational pedigree is both diverse and impressive. At Sherpa Prep, now a premier test preparation provider, Nafeez has been instrumental in designing innovative learning tools and curricula that have set new standards for the industry. His leadership has propelled Sherpa Prep to become one of the highest-rated organizations in its field, renowned for its effective and transformative educational approaches. In an effort to democratize access to quality education, Nafeez co-founded Smart with a Heart. This groundbreaking nonprofit strives to equalize the graduate admission process, offering bespoke test preparation and consulting services widely, irrespective of socioeconomic status. His work here is a testament to his belief that high-quality education should not be a privilege, but a universal opportunity. Nafeez, welcome to the show. Such a honor to have you here today.
That's almost an embarrassing thing you just did to me. I don't know. Like, it's true, most of it, but the adjectives, I don't know. Like, it's really something I have to live up to.
I feel like I know
Visionary,
you.
creative.
Yeah.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
No, and you're doing amazing because I feel like I've spent so much time with you over the past year and a half because of just watching all your videos and whatnot. So it's awesome to kind of finally be in my case, a closet space talking to you, recording this episode to kind of just dive into a little bit about your story and then also these two organizations you're a part of.
Sure. So test prep is not something I thought I'd be doing when I was growing up. I thought I'd be a corporate lawyer. So I went to school and studied business. I did the Wall Street internship thing. And I thought, all right, I'll do iBanking, then go to law school, and then be a corporate lawyer. I don't know why I thought these things, honestly. I don't know. But I would say after my third year of summer interning in Wall Street, I was like, I don't know. This isn't really, this isn't my scene. I was doing well at it because it's not that intellectual and it's not that it's not that difficult, honestly. It's just a little bit of math and then being able to sell it, and all right, I could do that. I could at least pretend I could do that. But it wasn't really fulfilling and it wasn't as thoughtful as I wanted to be with my life. So I like to say that I was active in making these choices, but a lot of it was circumstance. I graduated like a fool early into a recession, the one after 9/11. And so my Wall Street ideas were kind of crushed by the macro environment. So it was actually a blessing. It was like, all right, I'm not even doing that anymore. So what I did was I got into entrepreneurship. I figured at that age I had nothing to lose, and it's actually true. Really no accountability, no responsibilities, no kids, no spouse, no nothing. If I mess up now, who cares? It's just me messing up for a couple of years. And so I went into a small business, real estate, franchises, little things like that, little, honestly, mom and pop things. And in truth, I probably broke even. But net entrepreneurship, that's a win. My first one was a tie. I went into a period of reflection after that. I started going to school, a lot of school. I just threw myself in. I went to multiple programs at once, just like, I'm just going to get into this. And to make money, went into corporate advisory, M&A, restructuring, shareholder proxy fights, stuff like that. It's business, but it's also research. I thought that'd be pretty cool. I did that to pay bills. I went to school. And on the side, I started tutoring. Just completely. If I look at my Google Calendar today, I can't even believe what I was doing. I don't know, probably 100, 120 hours a week, all these different things, juggling. But it was just what I felt I had to do. I've always felt that I'm one of those people who, if he's not going 100%, I'm going 50%. I don't have balance, and that's something I'm working on, but I don't really have balance. I don't know what that is. Anyway, so I started tutoring for a company. I did SAT tutoring for literally 3 weeks before I realized the stuff that I could come up with was better than the books I'm teaching. And so that happened. And then I would say 6 years of side hustling. Well, I think I can go make this my full thing. So Sherpa Prep happened and got bigger. Me and my great partner Jay in this Sherpa Prep business just went after it, and we made a foothold in DC. We met a lot of great people. DC's a military town, DC's a consulting town, DC's a political town. So we met a great cross section of individuals from all kinds of locations. But what we have always been discouraged by is that test prep has this asymmetry with it. And the problem with it is people don't know what's good, because most people don't do test prep more than once. And so what you have here is a lot of marketing budget being a proxy for what's good, and that increases the prices. And then you have this stranger situation where you have specialization, and it takes a very strange individual to go into test prep. You have to be really good at something very specific and then decide to do the teaching thing, which is less lucrative than what they could do otherwise. Go to law school with it or business school with the great test prep grades. So we have to find really random people, which I include myself in. I'm definitely a random person. So we found a collection of strange individuals who we love at Sherpa Prep. But the thing is, you need to be able to keep them, and pay them what they need to be paid, more so than McKinsey would pay them, or Goldman would pay them, or something else they would be able to do. So we have this problem, like our best people who actually don't get good till about 10 years in have to leave because we can't pay them market rate. So we decided to create Smart with a Heart to address this problem. It was I would say, the brainchild of our executive director, Bronwyn. And she said, why don't we just use Nafeez and Jay? Why don't we use your knowledge? Because you've been doing it the longest. Jay's close to 20 years. So I'm getting there too. Why don't we use your knowledge and let that be the structure? Let that be the content. And then let's use technology, Zoom. Let's use internet. Let's use new technologies to increase access. Therefore, the costs can go down. It's just you. And it's not you teaching every night, as we've been doing for 6 days a week for nearly 20 years. It's just we can record it, we can scale it, we can keep the costs down. And then the thing that really has separated us at Sherpa Prep for all these decades has been the human touch. We've never felt that education should be a luxury good. So we always priced well below market rates, just because I got to say our disposition towards education. Personally, I have no problem with things costing a lot of money. It makes sense to me. I'm a business person. I'm a capitalist. I believe things should be priced with the market could bear. Our problem, Jay and I, we have a problem, is that the specialty nature of test prep is such that the market forces can allow us to charge $500 an hour, $1,000 an hour. And that's fine if we're selling Ferraris or handbags. That's fine, personally. But we're not selling that. We're selling education or access to education. And that's where we have a problem. I don't want to sell things at a high price here. I feel very uncomfortable. And my worldview is that education should be widely accessible. It should be free or close to free. I do think there's some economic advantage to having some skin in the game, but it shouldn't be what it's costing. You know full well what school costs. And going to all these MBA tour events, information sessions for the last 2 decades, I know people are priced out. People who think they can do it, they meet a provider of test prep or admissions consulting, and they're like, I don't know what this is. I'm not for it. And so our idea to make this hybrid, to give people the hybrid touch, because we have the recordings, but we also have the opportunity for a student to get access to a really skilled individual on demand. I think that, we hope, solves the problem in a way that's economically efficient for everyone. So Smart with the Heart is just the brainchild of Bronwyn and Jay and me, and then it's a volunteer army of people like you, Bryce. It's just, we're fighting a system, we're fighting a good fight, and we're hoping to change some lives doing it.
Thank you so much for kind of like not only providing a lot of your background, but also kind of even how you found yourself in this space.
Yeah.
I love what you said about how it's a big marketing budget for these big companies. And that's really what drives the cost
Yeah.
of these test prep companies. Never really thought about that way because I use a particular test prep service, paid a decent amount for it before I found Smart with a Heart.
Yeah.
And it was not anything special, but everyone knew about it, right? Like everybody knew the name when you talked about it. It was just glaring at you in the face through emails and advertisements. So it totally makes sense to me now
Yeah.
why those are so prevalent. But for you, it became really a moral issue.
Yeah.
This isn't the time and place to exercise capitalism at its finest. It's
Yeah.
a time and place to give access or opportunity to others.
Yeah, Bryce. Honestly, the two biggest drivers of cost in test prep, and this might be too in the weeds for our audience, but I think it's relevant, especially to your question. The two biggest drivers are advertising and then instructor costs. And to be honest with you, a lot of the instructors at a lot of these big names, I don't get taller by standing on anyone's back, so I'm not going to name any names. Everyone knows the names. A lot of these instructors would not make it through our first screen at Sherpa Prep or Smart. They wouldn't make it through our first screen. Even if they're really smart, doesn't mean they're a teacher. Honestly, our screening standards are so high, our in-person delivery was constrained because there's not enough people who can teach at the level that we want to teach at. Honestly, even really, really incredibly smart individuals that we hire, they're not really any good to our standards. They're not really good till about 3 years. Yeah. We don't let them teach full classes for a while. We let them tutor because tutoring is a light engagement. It's one-on-one and, you're helping someone out and it's not that hard. But teaching a class, managing a room of 15, 20 individuals who are completely different in terms of coming in a skill level and anxieties and comfort with test prep, that's a tough deal. And so honestly, you need, Gladwell's 10,000 hours has been supported and debunked, but whatever, it takes a while. It takes several years for anyone to get good to our standards. And so that's what I was saying about keeping these people for 5-10 years. It's basically impossible. Even the big companies, the ones you all know, they can't keep their instructors very good. They only have like 1 or 2 individuals per firm that have been teaching for a long time. Most of the classes are taught by people who are really smart, but I would say they're in the minor leagues. They're not really teachers yet. They're smart people who can do a problem, maybe. Even to that, I have some quibbles. I even think that there is a big difference between, let's say, 750 G9 and 800 G9. There's honestly a big difference. Not in terms of applications or anything like that, but in terms of a test prep person, yeah, there is. Even between 780, 800, there is a difference. And our teachers are at the nice end of that. So I think that the marketing people don't know, and the fact that learning how to teach takes many, many years. You need to have, obviously, the horsepower. You need to have the skill level, but that empathy, the EQ aspect that, frankly, probably matters most of all as a teacher, in my view, a lot of people don't have that. At Sherpa Prep, I remember so many people we had, because we were paying well, relatively speaking, maybe not Goldman well, but we were paying well. So we had a lot of professors who wanted to teach for us, a lot of get PhDs in physics. They obviously have intellectual horsepower, and yeah, they can do algebra, right? So it's not a question whether they could do it, but they couldn't teach worth a lick. Brilliant, but that doesn't mean they can teach. And they might, and actually some of them didn't even know the methods we knew. Like we even blitzed them on the skill level of the test. These are very specific skill-based exams, and it's not common knowledge how to do them. So on many fronts, Bronwyn's idea to leverage my and Jay's skill, and that was born not out of necessarily innate ability. Mostly it was born through just we do it all the time, and we do it with a lot of intention. And having met thousands of people, and that's not exaggerated, like we both taught thousands of people, we've fielded every kind of variant of question anyone could ask. Like we've already heard that question 38 different ways, and we've figured out 38 different ways of answering this question everyone has. Because the first time through, it might not land, but the second time, third time, fourth time, maybe we can create a link between the question and the student that's understanding. So that's why even really smart people aren't necessarily good test prep instructors. You need smart, you need skilled, and you need empathy. And those are hard.
Yeah,
we're trying all 3. I think we got the first 2 covered. The third one, we're always can get better on empathy. But we're trying.
No, and you guys do great. So just so our listeners are aware, Yeah, this is a really salient topic for me because in the Army, I was serving as a company commander at the time of my applications and getting ready for GRE test prep. For those who don't know what company commander is, that role, it varies, depending on what unit you're a part of, but those were 10 to 12-hour days, sometimes even work on Saturdays and Sundays. I just had very limited time, and I was intimidated to entertain any live or in-person courses because you just never had any control over your schedule. You couldn't predict even a couple of days out. So when I found you, I think it was either a services school or maybe SitReps to SteerCo's a webinar, and I received your course overview of Smart with Heart, and I decided to check it out. The way that the classes are recorded, it's live classes taught in a virtual capacity, and I believe also chosen to the best classes or even edited because it's really well done, really well depicted, and it's completely asynchronous. I was able to do it, during some of my breaks or super early in the morning or maybe later in the evening. Just whenever I had time, I was able to get on there, and it was great because you guys do a great job expressing that empathy piece, even in a virtual capacity recorded. Yeah. Because you've been working with the same type of students like me, like vets, and then other minorities, and it's great to have that and to see it be able to be scaled in this capacity. I think it's absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Honestly, we created Smart with the Heart for vets, for under-resourced individuals, for first-gen kids. Honestly, that's what we created it. Because even at our below-market price point at Sherpa Prep, we still were pricing out most people. And the Smart with the Heart concept is, let's give everyone the best of our best. It'll reduce teaching costs. But when they need that extra empathy beyond the recording, when they actually need a person to help them figure out what's going on with my test score, or I'm really freezing up on test day, I'm really anxious about this, that's got to be human. And so that's why we have those check-ins for people. So we give them, we think, the best of both worlds. We'll definitely give them the ability to take the course on their schedule in far off places, wherever your bases are in the military or wherever. And I've had people, we've had people take the class from most of the time zones, maybe not all 24, but definitely double
really
digits,
close.
High teens. Yeah. Honestly, high teens for sure. And they're able to take it when they get their decent Wi-Fi, wherever they are, far flung. And then when they need that touch, when they need to have a person look over the error log and find things they might not see, that's the skill level in teaching. Like, okay, actually you're missing this algebra question, but it's not the algebra you're missing. You're missing the word translation, or you're missing the arithmetic. Having that kind of skill takes some time. But obviously I think the biggest differentiator is, no, we're there to really help you. We have no interest other than your score. We're in the boat with you. So I can't take credit for the idea. I'm helping push the idea forward. But I think Bronwyn came up with it.
No, it's great. And so obviously nonprofit space, completely different even from what you guys were doing in Sherpa Prep. Can you describe to me, like, what were some challenges early on? What are some challenges even right now, and maybe some good triumphs that you guys have experienced?
Well, I think let's start with the good stuff. The triumphs are the fact that our students are amazing. They're just amazing. The people who choose us, like you, go all in, get their scores, go to school, and they make this transition, the thing that we're hoping, that the thing that helps people change the trajectories of their families. This thing happens with our students more than anything. So I can say that pretty definitively. Our students are amazing. And our students' loyalty to not us, but our mission is heartwarming. Like, no, I'm going to give you your flowers now, Bryce. Like, we didn't ask you to do this. This is yours. You came up with it. You're running this. Like, and you and a few dozen others like you decided, you know what? These people are fighting a good fight. I'm going to join that fight with them. And we get that. I mean, I have relationships with students, and this is prior to Smart with the Heart, with Sherpa Prep. Like, I have relationships with students like 15, 20 years after I taught them some GMAT or some GRE. Like, who has a relationship with their test prep instructor? Who has beers with their test prep instructor? Like, years after the fact. Like, I don't know. But it can't be that many. But I'll say for us, it's not unusual. We've created something, and I think we've attracted a certain self-starter, self-motivated, well, not self-motivated, that's probably not the right word, but self-starter who can do this, wants to do this, understands it, and then when they actually win and they realize what we've tried to do for others, they jump in the boat with us. So that's the positive. The groundswell of support from our students is beyond heartwarming. It's staggering. Our board of directors, it's all our students. It's people who understand what we're trying to do. That's the positive. I think another positive I got to say is how successful the programming has been. When we launched in May of 2022, we weren't sure like how easy it would be for people to use this hybrid system and how effective it would be. We knew that our content was right. We knew that. We were very, very confident, almost cocky about that. But we didn't know whether the hybrid thing would work out or how much people would use it and whatever. No, it's been awesome. To being perfectly frank about it, it's more scalable than we ever thought it would be. It's more scalable than we thought it would be. Our expenses are so lower than we thought. We can really expand this out to thousands of people, no question about it, without really batting an eyelash. So that's another positive. It's the thing works better than we thought. Challenges. The challenges are for our nonprofit. One, fundraising. We're not good at that. To be perfectly frank, we're not good at it. We don't know. Well, I personally have not been comfortable asking anyone for money. Although I have to get better at it, and we all have to get better at it at Smart with a Heart. And making those connections with the philanthropies and the people who are aligned with our vision to increase access for military veterans. I'm not surprised you probably found us at SITREPS or Service School. They're two of our biggest partners. But QuestBridge is another one. They help first-gen kids go into college. But we're very blessed to have really great partners. 51 Vets, 3 Rangers Foundation. The thing that we find challenging is fundraising. And I think every nonprofit would say that, especially in year 1 or year 2. That's something that we could do better. And we have some ideas, and our board is working on things to do that. I think another challenge, though, is the first stage in the funnel, which is awareness. Like, we're almost a cult. Sherpa Prep was a cult in a way. Like, we didn't advertise, to be honest with you. Like, because that would increase the price, that would force us to increase prices. We didn't advertise. Like, we didn't pay for Google hits that were $100 per hit, because that would make our course have to cost $2,000. We decided really not to do that. We didn't even get involved in that game that others obviously play. Yeah. We decided we're just going to go word of mouth. We're just going to create the best bakery at the time in Washington, D.C. This is like the best test prep bakery, and our lines will go out the door because everyone knows you have to come. And that was the model. We're a very, very fancy boutique restaurant that didn't charge boutique prices, all word of mouth. Like, honestly, more than 50%, up to 70% of our students were all referrals. We didn't have to advertise. And even if we did advertise, we didn't have room for it. Mm-hmm. But at Smart with a Heart, we don't really have that. Now that we're global, who really knows what Smart with a Heart is? So we don't have the brand recognition that some of these big providers do. So we have an awareness issue. People don't even know we exist. What's that? I never heard that before. We definitely have, Sherpa Prep has some name recognition a little bit in different pockets. Awareness, because understandably so, most people aren't going to apply to grad school multiple times. And most people are not going to study for a GMAT or a GRE multiple times. So they're just going to go with the safer bet. So I understand the economics. Let's go with the safer one. I know it costs more, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do this once, and I want to go to the fancy schools possible, blah, blah, blah. Let's go with the safe bet. So we have an awareness issue. We also, further down in that funnel, this is a business school talk, the further down in the funnel is consideration. It's like, you guys are charging what? $200? This can't be good. Like, I don't care. I don't care. $200 is this can't be what I need it to be. So the consideration, like, our price point is often like too low for people. Yeah. Now, we don't have any plans on raising the prices, not anytime soon. But there's that problem of people associating price with quality. We just really need to do the messaging better, apparently. So that's another challenge. Getting the word out. And then when people actually come to our page, believing this stuff's real. It can't be $200. $249, and there's admissions consulting help in there, and there's live check-ins with humans, and there's office hours. Come on now. Come on. I'm going to go with the safety of the big brand. I'll pay 6 times more. I'll pay 8 times more. And I get that. And that's kind of an economic problem we have to solve.
Yeah.
But those are our
Psychology
biggest two.
associated with like how much you spend is going to be subjectively the
Of course.
quality of
And
what you.
I get
Yeah.
it. I'm not immune to this.
Yeah.
I'm not immune to this. If I don't know something. Like, I'm going to assume, like, let's say I don't know anything about HVAC. I hope I don't have an HVAC problem in my house anytime soon. If I don't know anything about HVAC, I'm going to assume that the higher cost model is better because I don't know any better. And that's a lot of the same thing, that information asymmetry, where the seller and the buyer are not on equal footing. The same thing happens with test prep. I know a lot more about test prep than anyone who's buying from me. I know a lot more. And all they have to do is all they have to rely on is Google or their friend. And there's a decent chance the average consumer has not heard of Sherpa Prep or Smart with Heart. But the ones that have, like Bryce, they're like, no, dude, don't even worry about it. No questions asked. Most of our clients, most of our students don't even ask questions. They just like, yeah, dude, I have 18 people who took your course and there wasn't a decision. And yeah, but we need to pierce that bubble. So the awareness and the consideration are our biggest hurdles. People don't know us, and when they get to our page, they don't believe it. They don't believe our price point.
When I got admitted to Booth, message Bronwyn, I was like, I've got to connect with you. I've got to find a way to get involved in some capacity. When I finally got online with her and Nick, they voiced the same thing. Like the message isn't out, and we don't know how to get it out well. People reach out to me via LinkedIn all the time now. Like after every podcast, I get a couple of people who reach out. And it's great just to reiterate, this is the real program. This is who I am. This is where I've been, and this is how I got here. And it's great to have you a part of my story. So I really appreciate it.
No, I owe you more than you owe me, honestly. But the truth is, people don't want to hear from me. I'm happy to be here, but I'm not the guy who's gonna lead them to GRE promised land, like necessarily. Like they might not believe me. My lived experience and theirs, I can definitely see, a problem there. That's why we need our students to tell the stories. And this podcast, this initiative, is amazing because it's getting a lot of different people in front of the screen with different lived experiences, different levels of skill level with regard to this test prep nonsense that we teach, different levels of anxiety with regard to standardized testing. Maybe if they see a few of these podcasts, or listen to a few of these podcasts, they can latch on. You know what? I might not be like Nafeez, but I'm definitely like Lindsay, or I'm definitely like Alec, or I'm definitely like Bryce, or I'm definitely like Nick, or whatever. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll give these people a shot.
I appreciate that. And I think another thing that maybe people can do, even just to get a taste of what we're offering here, you have helped develop a lot of apps. You've written books. You have other material that maybe you even integrate into Smart with Heart. Can you shed some light on where can people find some of those resources that you've helped create to kind of understand how legitimate this is?
Sure. If people are interested, we have an app on the App Store, a GRE math app. We have the same material in book form on Amazon. But to be truthful with everyone, we're hoping that the website itself, the Smart with the Heart program, houses all of this stuff. To be honest with you, the platform of Smart with the Heart is our best of best, and it's our most up-to-date stuff. So we're hoping in the next, I don't even want to say the date out loud, but in the near future, there will be ways for students who are not so sure to engage with us in the form of a practice test. So they don't have to commit to anything. There's no credit card, no payment login, none of that. If you want to see how we do things, here's a practice test that everyone needs to take many times, right? And here's how we solve it. And so you can get a sense of our vibes and then the way we do things. That is on our to-do list in the very near future. Hopefully we can release it. I'm not going to put a date on it because I'm gonna sound really foolish when it's inevitably well behind schedule. Maybe people can get a sense of us that way. But in the meantime, they can check out our app or our books. But honestly, we're hoping everything is housed within the Smart with the
Heart. Yeah. And, to any of our listeners, they absolutely can continue to reach out to me, reach out to any of the people that we've interviewed, even on this podcast. I think they'll at the time of this podcast, it'll be 10 total people. You can absolutely reach out to any of us, or even some of the people who review us, whether that be on Google or even on our website, because I'm pretty sure that anyone who's used this program would be more than willing to talk about it, because it makes a difference. I know for me, we'll just call it what it is. I was not confident in my ability to take this test, and the fact that this organization was able to help me turn that around. It was just a gift that I can't really put a price tag on. So I'm certainly more than happy to talk about it all the time. But Nafeez, this has been great. You've explored so much with us in quite a short amount of time.
I don't know. Like, if people want to talk about test prep or problems in education, I can go on for days. No question about it, because I do genuinely believe there's a problem. And everyone knows what the problem is. It's haves and have-nots. If you look at socioeconomic percentiles, who gets into the top schools, a lot of it's aligned with socioeconomic status of your parents, and that's okay. That's not okay, I guess. It's not merit. It's not merit based. I think we can say that. And I wish that more people knew that they were fully capable of doing this kind of thing. Imposter syndrome is so real. It's so real, especially if the person doesn't have anyone to model after. They never met anyone and who did this. No one in their family, no one of their friends do these things, go to Booth or fancy school X or Y. And then when they actually have the courage, or even if they know to even go to information session, they have the courage to even do that. Then they go to these things and they see the price points of admissions consulting. They see the price points of different test prep packages. And they're like, wait a minute, I'm not even sure I can do this. I don't have anyone to model after. I'd be the tip of the spear here. And I'm not sure I could do it at all. And then to even take the chance at doing this, I got to pay what? Tens of thousands of dollars to even have a chance. And then when I get there, what does it cost? Are you kidding me? Like, so there's so many places where the funnel, and this is how test prep companies think about this, and the test prep administrators, the GRE, the ETS, and the GMAT, they think about the funnel. And there's literally millions of people who are interested in going to grad school, literally millions. And even that might be underestimating how many people are interested. But then by the time you get to people who actually submit applications, it's less than 1% of the people who are interested. And a lot of that might be obviously putting in the effort and skill, and like some people want to work harder than others. And, some of that is like self-selection. Not everyone goes to Booth, and that's by design, right? But that's okay. But a lot of it, too much of it, in my experience, is that people are priced out. And so this whole initiative, honestly, Sherpa Prep was, in our view, a mission-driven organization to do something about it. But Smart with a Heart is way, not better, but it's a different, better version of scaling. So even more people. It's even wider. The number of people we can reach with this product, with this initiative, is just way bigger than we anticipated, frankly.
No, I'm so glad, because it's making it more accessible for all. It really is. I remember seeing a graph at one point depicting how much money people who apply to these programs will pay in consulting services, just like from essay, resume, and GRE prep services. And it's awful.
It's awful.
And especially as a vet, getting paid off
fixed
of
income,
Uncle Sam, right?
Fixed income. I mean, imagine you work in the government, in any job in the government, or you work in the military, or I don't know, don't make a lot of money at all. Which is most people. Like, what are we talking about here? How can you even bother trying? I totally understand. Well, I take that back. I don't totally understand, but I think I have some understanding of the problem. And it's horrifying to me, honestly. I do think that, this is not my phrase, but I'll borrow it. Talent is not. Time out. Let me rephrase that. Okay.
Good.
No,
You're good.
Like talent is normally distributed, but the opportunities are not, and that's a problem. I think a lot of people who don't know that they can do it are self-selecting themselves out of this process, and a lot of it's because of, frankly, economic reasons, and we're just trying to do our part to change that.
I like that. Talent is normally distributed,
Yeah.
But, opportunity is not.
Opportunity is not. Opportunity is concentrated differently than talent is. And there's obviously a disconnect there. Not everyone who's talented is getting those opportunities. That's a mismatch. And we're trying to lower the barrier to entry as low as possible so that everyone actually can see whether they're talented enough to do this. And more people are than they know. And we're trying to make sure anyone who thinks they should do this. And again, I don't want to be classist here or like think that education is absolutely necessary or the be all end all. I don't think so. Some people shouldn't be in school. They're doing great without it. If you think that getting a certain type of education, be it law school, business school, whatever, can help you do what it is that you want to do, well, then I don't think you should be shut out from having a shot. Like that to me is the real problem. Like you should have a shot at it, and we're trying to give everyone a fair shot at a price point that will not break them.
And I adamantly believe that Smart with a Heart is doing just that. And I'm super excited to see where it goes. And even just like with this next application season, I'm just hoping that more and more people sign up for it, because if we can grow at the same rate or in the same capacity that even Sherpa Prep did, which is offering virtually the same type of stuff, I'm very excited to see where this goes and what opportunities we bring to other people. But Nafeez, you have been awesome. Before we close out, is there anything else that you wanted to share with our audience today?
Don't take my word for it, everybody. Do not take my word for it. I'm not lying to you. I don't have time to lie. Everything I told you is as truthful. It might be incorrect, but it wasn't a lie. Do not take my word for it. Take the words of all of our students. Go to Google. Google us. Google us. Yeah. Watch these podcasts. I will be shocked if you're not impressed. I swear to you, they're all real people. Every one of them. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We're going to bend over backwards to try to help you. It really was created because when we met people who are deployed overseas or under-resourced here or working really hard at their service institution or at their government job or whatever, they feel like they're priced out. We've met so many of them. And we just got tired of it and decided to do something about it.
No, it's perfect. Nafeez, it's been, again, such a privilege to be able to chat with you about this. So thankful for what you're doing in our communities. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Bryce.